Greetings to you all, it's nice to see you. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since I did a video. My day job has been keeping me very busy so far in 2025 with lots of travel for work to lots of fun places like Dublin and Stockholm, Manchester, London, and many more. A little break from that now, so I should get back to a few more videos with some regularity with any luck. So this video today, it's a follow-on from the last one that I did about DSPM for AI. It's sort of becoming an unintentional series, this, in a way, because I've had many problems getting my Mac devices onboarded to Defender stroke Purview, and I've got a little bit further with this. I've not got as far as I would have liked, but I have had a bit of a breakthrough. So that's what I want to share with you in this video today, so you can see where I'm up to, and I will be continuing to work on it. You can count on that. Before we get into the video, please hit that subscribe button if you've not already done so. If you want access to things like members, videos, and other perks, you can click the join button as well, and don't forget to hit the notifications bell. Okay, with that done, let's get to the content. So here we are in the Purview compliance portal, and I'm in device onboarding within settings and devices. And those of you who've watched the previous videos that I've done, which I will link to this video on AI Hub, and then correcting issues or fixing issues, I think the video was called, on Defender for Endpoint on Mac, and then the recent one about DSPM for AI, then you'll know where we're up to. If not, maybe you might want to go back and watch those. But a short recap, I was having some issues, and the issues that I was having are kind of illustrated by what's happening with this new MacBook Air device that we've got here in devices now under configuration status showing as not updated. That is my wife's MacBook, just for out of curiosity, if you're wondering. So there we go. So we can see here we've got two in there. We can see when they were last seen. The policy sync status is absolutely fine on both. The Mac OS is listed there, different versions, valid users, and the onboarded date. Now, how did I get mine, which was in this configuration status of not updated, to this now fully updated status? And if I click on it, I can see all of this lovely detail. My UPN is fine, my accessibility is all fine, my full disk access is okay, green ticks everywhere. DLP policy sync details, it tells you, and I found this to be true, that DLP policy updates can take up to 2 hours to reflect on this dashboard. So you do have to be patient when you make changes in trying to get this working. Go away and come back and look at it a bit later. And what you can do is from here you can view all the policies that are actually on that particular device. If I go in here, I can see all of the DLP policies that are being targeted to my device and the status of them. It says that they have been successfully updated, which is brilliant. If I scroll down, I can see more device details. I can see all sorts of stuff here, which I'll not dwell on too much. And in fact, just to be safe, I might blur some of that out. Not that I'm saying that you guys are untrustworthy, of course, but there we go. Right. Okay. So I was pulling my hair out for months and months, as you might recall, trying to get around this not updated issue. If I'm being brutally honest, I'm still not 100% certain what I did that totally fixed it, but I'll sort of walk you through what I did try and what I did do. Where was I? I was in the Intune portal, and you can see both devices are here and enrolled in YouTube in Intune now. I merged YouTube and Intune there, and what I was seeing from some of my further investigations, and I also logged the ticket with Microsoft, and they did suggest to me what I perceived to be very basic steps, but I wanted to humor them and go through the motions again. And to be fair, a couple of things they suggested did get me to where I am now with nice green ticks. So I went into the configuration profiles for managing devices, and it was for, and I've got a ton of these, and I'm pretty sure I went through all of these, getting these all set up in the previous video. And in the configuration settings for MDE, and at least for that one, what I had to do was I had to get the latest mobile config file from the learn.microsoft.com site where all the instructions are. And again, I went through all of that in the last video, and I had to, well, basically go into this, and if you go down to configuration settings, I edited it, and that content that comes from that XML file, I had to go and download a fresh copy from the website, upload it again, and then save it. And there was one more which I had to change, and just bear with me while I try and remember which one it was now. But it was one where I think it was actually the full disk access one. Yes, I think the full disk access one. And this required a couple more lines at the bottom of the config file. And if we go into that, we can edit that config file again. Full disk.mobile config. And there we go. It looks ever so slightly different once you uploaded it, but I had to get a new one, and at the bottom of it I had to paste just a couple more lines of DLP detail in there. So DLP, I was absolutely certain that I'd already done this the first time that I did this, and maybe I did, but who knows, and it may be a combination of factors that ultimately got it working, but I'm just telling you what I did to get to where I was. So I did that, put the DLP details in, and reviewed and saved that one, and I'll just cancel that. And then what I did is I gave my MacBook a reboot. I don't know if I didn't wait long enough, but that didn't solve the problem at all. It left me with some problems still. What I did then was that I uninstalled Defender for Endpoint just by going into the applications on the Mac, deleting it, and then of course after a little while my configuration in Intune pushed it back out again through the company portal. It downloaded it. It still wasn't quite right. So then I found myself, if I go down here and open up my terminal, found myself in terminal, and I found when you put in this command here, DLP Health, you can put the details in and you don't have to. It doesn't necessarily make much difference. I've not really found. I found that this line here was set to disabled, and I couldn't in previous attempt. In fact, I'm certain that I knew about this on the first video, and I tried to get it working by putting Defender into troubleshooting mode and enabling it manually. It just didn't like it at all. So what I did after seeing that was still disabled is I just reminded myself via trusty Copilot, hey Copilot, what is the command to enable data loss prevention in Defender for Endpoint via the terminal on a Mac? And it says, sure, you can use the following command. And this is what I put in. I put in this MDA TP config DLP -- value enabled. Out of desperation at this point, trying something to see if I'd missed something. Now, this definitely didn't work the first time I tried it months and months ago. This time, despite not having Defender for Endpoint in troubleshooting mode, whatever I'd done previously, those new push out or reboots or redeploying Defender for Endpoint, this time it enabled it, and it got me to where in the terminal, as you saw, I now had this lovely active entry in data loss prevention status. So, all jolly well and good. And I thought, yay, I've cracked this. Not entirely, sadly. So I'll update you to where I'm at now. And I'm still in conversations with Microsoft about how I can take this to the next step. I've got nice, lovely green ticks on updated. But things in Purview are still not working quite as I want them to work. And I'll show you what I mean. If I go in to DSPM for AI, which is where it all happens, and we go into the policies, then what we can see is all of our various policies that we have broken into categories for DLP, for insider risk management, for communication compliance. Now, if I take a look at this particular one here, DSPM for AI, detect risky AI usage, I can edit the policy in the solution. That's going to take me right into insider risk management in a brand new tab there. I could have just gone straight there, but I just wanted to remind you how good DSPM is, and you can view all your policies in one place. So here we are, insider risk management. I've got some policies. I'm getting some warnings and recommendations, so I already know there's some issues here. So let's just expand that one out. I've got DSPM for AI, detect risky AI usage. So immediately I can see there's some problems and that no alerts generated recently due to triggering event thresholds. Now, I think this is not so much to be worried about. I think what this is basically telling me is that this being a test tenant and not in production and not thousands and thousands of users on there, I need to consider lowering those thresholds on some of these policies to make matches. So that's absolutely fine. That's not really the problem. But I go into the policy, and having those lovely green ticks now in Purview made me think that I would get to the point where I would see a lovely green tick here in setting up a policy for devices onboarded. But no. And truth be told, I didn't actually know that this was a thing to expect until I saw this tick appear when I added another communication compliance policy. And it ticked it off as a checklist, and I thought, I must need this one ticked as well. But no, it's not ticked, despite the fact that I have got my Purview device showing green, green, green now. So weird, very, very weird. So I go next, and as I feared, the fact that it's not registering here as the device is onboarded is leaving me with some limitations in the policy still. So, and it happens when I get to, I'm ignoring HR data connector, by the way, because I haven't got the ability to test that. Not yet, I should clarify. A very, very good friend and colleague at Microsoft has given me an idea on how I could potentially demo that, but that's for another video. But it's when you get to the indicators here. Now these are the thresholds, the built-in thresholds, and what I think I need to do is take these number of activities down on some of these policies. I think 10 per day, it's just not meeting those thresholds. So that's the other thing. But these indicators is where I'm still having the problem. Devices onboarded, lovely green ticks, but not being interpreted in setting up a policy here means that these device indicators, which are the indicators that I want, still grayed out, which is massively, massively frustrating. I can get a link here to onboard devices, but no, because I've already onboarded devices. And if I click on that, it takes me right back to Purview in the settings, and where's it going to take me? Device onboarding, it's going to take me there. And I can see my devices that I have in here, my 2 MacBooks. I'm starting to wonder if I should get a Windows device actually just to actually get it working fully and show that it's working fully. But no. But that being said, I did find that some of the newer items in here that have appeared and some other indicators I can now select when I previously couldn't. I mean, these risky browsing indicators I still can't because it's perceiving this as not having devices onboarded when that's actually not true. But I've got these Defender for Endpoint ones all nicely selected there. I've got Defender for Cloud Apps ones all select all there, and I've got other ones that I've got them all selected. So, and there's lots more new ones here just out of interest that I can just quickly go through with you the new one. So what we've got here, cloud storage indicators preview. So what you can do now, if you're so motivated, is you can configure indicators that will link to third-party storage like Box, Dropbox, and Google Drive. So we could put those in, and you've got to go through and set up billing and whatnot. Again, probably one for another video when I finally got this one fully working. This is very, very much a chain reaction thing. You think you've got it sorted, and then it hits you right in the face with another thing. So it's a bit annoying. So that is the cloud storage indicators. We've then got cloud service indicators. So we've got AWS and Azure indicators there. So we can go up and set up all the billing and whatnot for them. And so on and so forth. We've got generative AI apps preview. I've already selected 4 out of 6 of these. So I've gone in and I've selected 2 out of 2 of the Copilot experiences. So I've selected all for receiving a sensitive response from Copilot or entering a risky prompt in Copilot. And so that's the service indicators. And then we've got, actually, what did I not select in those ones? Just remind me. I didn't select Azure AI Content Safety. There's 2 more there. Then we've got Fabric indicators, so you can put some Power BI stuff in. I'm not really too interested in that at the minute. It's not my bag. Maybe at some point in the future I will. Communication compliance, I put some of these in. Detect messages, matching specific trainable classifiers. I did 3 out of 3 of those. So sending inappropriate content, images, and financial regulatory text that might be risky. And then finally, we've got detect messages, matching specific sensitive info types. I didn't configure that one. So, didn't configure that one. It's actually not the most brilliantly instinctive thing to use this. And then the last one down here, which is also a new one, Microsoft Entra ID protection indicators to detect suspicious or anomalous activity related to user accounts. So potentially risky sign-in activity. So that's going to relate to, ID protection, as is the potentially compromised. So you're going to get indicators based on that as well. So that was slightly disappointing. I couldn't select those things that I needed. So that's kind of the sticking point that I'm at now. And really, I could go and show you some of these indicators that I've got set up already. The ones I really want to show you are the device ones, because this is endpoint DLP that we're basically demonstrating here. A DLP policy, scope to devices, and I'll just come out of this and confirm that I'm coming out. I'll just switch over to DLP, and if I go into my policies in DLP, it should come up. And some of your devices are not in an updated state, so something is not going into Purview to tell it that it's updated, even though it thinks that it is, which is massively frustrating. So we've got a couple of DLP policies here. AI Hub, discover sensitive prompts. If I edit that policy, and you might recall that many of these policies in DLP, insider risk protection and communication compliance, it set these up for me. I went through the wizard in what was called AI Hub at the time, now is DSPM for AI, and it says, do you want to set up these policies? Yeah, sure, I'll set those up, and boom, they were there, which is great. So this one, we'll just confirm. If we go through, we can see that this is a device-based policy targeted to all users and groups, and it's telling us some of your user devices are not in an updated state. See more detail. It takes us to a device onboarding again, which, to be fair, if I'm looking at this, and I'll just collapse that, it is true, but it was showing that before I put this additional MacBook in. Now this MacBook, I installed this one onto Intune and deployed Defender for Endpoint to it just today, and all seemed to be going well. And bizarre, this is not intentional. This is actually not to demonstrate before and after. I actually can't get this to show not updated, which is another piece of frustration that I now have. If I click onto it, the bizarre thing is I get lots of lovely green ticks. It shows the configuration status is all okay. nothing wrong there. I can view all the policies on the device, and I get all this valid ticks and whatnot. But there's this at the top here, which doesn't correlate to what I'm seeing here in the configuration status. The only clue I have as to what might be wrong with this one is if I do, and obviously this is not the same machine, but on my wife's machine, if I do this same DLP Health under data loss prevention, it was disabled. And I thought, I've just got to enable it the same way I did on mine. And it did succeed with the command, but with a difference. It doesn't say active. The DLP status says unhealthy. So that's where we're at with that one. So we've made a bit of progress, but not as much as I would have liked. And due to that, I'm a bit happier that I've got this one a bit further, but I don't understand why this one shows all green, no rogue warnings up there, terminal shows all is good, and yet in Purview, in policies, it's just not having it. It's not ungraying out those indicators for devices that I want to include and I want to show you, which is massively, massively frustrating. We will get there, I have no doubt we'll get there. What I did suspect was that it could be something related to the version of the MacBook, which is one of the primary reasons I added my wife's MacBook in, because hers is an older MacBook and it doesn't have the capability and or the disk space to get any further up than Ventura. And I did happen to see that for Mac purposes, it supports the latest 3 major releases of macOS. And it did get me thinking, is Sequoia, the version of Sequoia that I'm on, is that a problem? Because I'm on 15.0.1, I think it was. And if I look in, if we go into, yes, we're in Defender portal now. If we go into my MacBook in the Defender portal, there it is, all looking nice and ready and good to go. We'll just collapse this side screen. As I scrolled down, I saw that everything was onboarding status is onboarded, and we're all good there. But then I spotted this thing here, valid user not available. And this got me wondering, device properties are not available because this device doesn't meet the required OS version for Windows and macOS devices, or because this device has been recently onboarded. Well, and that got me wondering, am I too far ahead on Sequoia? So this is why I decided to put Louisa's in there, thinking if hers is an older version, which is not on a point whatever, then it, but no, hers says the same thing. So at least I've potentially ruled that out as a red herring as well. But it's a shame because it's taking up a lot of time. It's taking a lot of back and forth with Microsoft, and they're not being the quickest in their response. And where I'm at the moment, I am at the very basic stage of them potentially knowing less than I do and not being big-headed, but I think that's fair to say. And there's so much here in these policies that I'd like to show more of, because there's so much good stuff in here about what we can do. I mean, there's detect. I've tried setting up a new one as well. I can't do it in DSPM for AI. If I go back to Insider Risk Management, I can set up a new policy from there. But I maybe can hear you screaming now. Well, have you tried setting up a new policy from scratch? Yes, I have. And the computer says no. So we go create a policy. We'll do a custom policy, and you can choose from a template. Many different templates that you can choose from. The data theft by departing users. No green tick for devices onboarded. Again, this is not relevant to me. I'm not doing that just yet. I'm not doing physical badging. I'm not at the moment connecting the cloud applications. If we look at some of these other ones, I've got a lovely green tick on DLP policy. That's great, but why are my devices not showing us onboarded? What have we got here? Again, communication compliance, lovely green tick. We've got a priority user group, which I set up in Insider Risk Management also, but DLP, but no devices onboarded. Computer says no, lovely green tick, which is what I want. So Defender for endpoint subscription, lovely green tick. Defender for endpoint security alerts shared with compliance portal, lovely green tick. Wonderful. We've got all sorts of nice green ticks going on, but not the one we want. We want to have devices onboarded and just can't seem to get it there. So I did wonder at one point whether is this just not designed to work with Mac yet? Am I just being too cutting edge? And I asked Copilot, and this shows you where you can't necessarily always trust Copilot. I asked, I asked it if this version of Sequoia is going to work with Insider Risk Management, and actually said no. But then I sort of rephrased the question and it said yes. So I don't know what to make of it. I'm pretty sure that Mac is supported because, hey, we've got this far, but it's obviously got some wrinkles to be issued, to be straightened out. So there we go. That's where we're at right now. I can't really think that I can add much more to this right now, so I'm going to cancel out of that. You can be sure, though, that I'm not going to give up on this, having got so far. I've kind of got a bit further on one, but hit another problem. And in trying to prove that it's not just my device by adding another device, I've stumbled across another problem with an unhealthy DLP status in the terminal. So if anyone's watching has come across that, and you know what to do about that, because when I've co-piloted that, it goes through, try rebooting, try re-onboarding Defender for, and I've done all that, and of course nothing has worked yet. So I did wonder if perhaps it just needs time, because it's only been on board for, I don't know, maybe it's about, well, as I record this, probably about 8 hours now. So you would think that would be enough, but you can be sure I'm going to go deeper and get to the bottom of this, and as soon as I have any further news, you can be sure I will share it with you. Let's wind up the video and have a quick debrief. And there you go. So some progress, but some continued frustrations, that is for sure. And I'm going to continue on with Microsoft. I'm going to keep on playing with this and testing and tinkering and trying to feel my way through it, because truth be told, if I'm honest, Microsoft haven't been a lot of help with this so far. I've figured it out myself by trial and error, and who knows, but we'll get there, I'm sure. I do think that this probably would have been easier if I hadn't done it on Mac, but hey, there's people with Macs out there who need to know how to do this. There are businesses who run only on Mac, and they're going to want to use Defender for Endpoint with Purview and all that good stuff. So we need to know how this works, folks, right? So anyhow, that's the video for today. Thank you for watching as always and for your support. If you've enjoyed it, give me a like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you've not already done so. That helps me more than you know, as does hitting the notifications bell, because that means you don't miss a video when I put one live. And there's the join button, see what membership packages I have available to you as well. Until next time, take care, stay safe, travel well. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.